All right, we're on. Let's do it. What's good? This is episode 32 of the podcast. Jason DeBillius, your hostess with the mostest. And with me today, I have the man with the gift of gab, the original, the one, the only, Rob Espero.
Oh, that's the most Spanish I've ever sounded. I like that intro. I mean, I could feel my Spanish roots coming up.
Dude, you got Latino fans too, so that's how it works.
Thanks for
So,
having me on, Jason. I've always enjoyed chatting with you at the beach tournaments. I see that, and you have such a great charisma for the game as well as a great knowledge. And I also love the chatter, the what we'll call the friendly banter of all the athletes we know.
oh my God,
Criticizing their play because we could definitely do that ourselves.
definitely.
So, but it,
Well,
it
I
does give us some good laughs.
Well, actually, we'll start the show like that. Commentators and talking about players. This old saying, this old um, overused and underappreciated thing is like, oh, if you never played the game, you shouldn't comment on it. And I have a problem with that, and I'll bring it back twofold. So bear with me, and then you could chime in, because this is a podcast. We're not interviewing each other. We're just chatting. First of all, I played the game 30 years. All right, I've been coaching for 21. Beach is still relatively new, comparative to everybody else, maybe 5 years in. Color commentary, 6 to 8 years. 6 to 8 years. I did the CUNY championships every year for men's volleyball. It's usually Baruch and Hunter. A bunch of kids from Poland or overseas. Immigration population is really good in New York. It's why, like, when you go to indoor nationals, there's always a New York team there. So here's the thing. I think we're allowed to commentate on the game because when you see enough of it, you know what it looks like. If you make steak enough times, you don't need to be a chef. You know what good steak
Yeah.
tastes like. You know what bad steak tastes like. I'm very careful as far as where I think certain people cross the line was when you think someone's playing with no heart or someone's giving up. They're just giving up. They're refusing to play. So there's a certain way that commentators say things that make players angry. It's because you don't know if this guy is battling an undisclosed injury. You don't know if you know he what happened before that. You don't know if he had a cramp like in between sets and he's hiding it. So it's one of those things where if we choose to challenge somebody's will to win, we got to choose our words carefully, and that's where like a lot of players get upset, and I get that. But this whole thing, like, if someone is not allowed to be a part of it or at a high level because they never played it, then say goodbye to Chuck Daly, who's never dribbled a basketball in his life but won 2 rings with the Pistons, managed a dream team, one of the most. You want to talk about a team that you have to manage personalities: Barkley, Bird,
Yep.
Jordan, Pippen. I mean, it was such a strong personality team. They didn't have they made it their mind to not have Isaiah Thomas on it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
your thoughts about commentating and in that respect?
In regards to commentating, ironically, I was watching, being that we were all on quarantine mode. I was watching the rebroadcast, not rebroadcast. I just went on Prime Video and watched the replay of the Huntington Open of last year, the semifinal match
Yeah.
between Taylor Crabb, Jake Gibb, and Nick Lucena and Phil Dalhouser.
Yep. Nick
And
and
if you
Phil.
remember correctly, that first set in that semifinal match was literally a blowout. Jake and Taylor ended up taking that first set 21-13.
Yeah, you never
And
see the wheels come off
yeah,
against Phil and Nick. Certainly not on the domestic team.
right, right. And if you even have a whim of the men's game, Nick and Phil are capable of far more than that. But they just came out slow. And honestly, Taylor and Jake were on fire. So knowing that, when I go into commentary situations, it's like, you know what? Someone's entered beast mode, and at this point, all you can do is just kind of roll with it, try and contain it, and then hope for a better result in the next match. So,
Yep.
as far as like talking about the game, I think people know that you have a passion for the game and you have a respect for the athletes, and I totally have that. I mean, I know the training, I know the development they go through, I know the reps that they do, and as a spectator, I really appreciate the entertainment they give us and the competitive spirit they put out there on the court. So for me to go in there and criticize a performance or the way someone's playing, yeah, I have no right whatsoever. And if anything, as a commentator, I'm going to promote and say, hey, you're guaranteed to see them come right back because they are a professional. They know what they're doing. They know what their abilities are. And you know what? Hopefully they can contain the other team or even come back and push a third set tiebreak.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I'm all about, I don't want to say I will definitely critique some of the play, but I will limit what that critique is because I have no right. They are the competitors. They're the ones that are going to battle, not me. So I don't have that right. Seeing them play and go with it with the most intense attitude on the court. I mean, as a former athlete, I only played 1 year indoor at UC Irvine. The first year they went Division One, but in playing doubles tournaments after that, it's like you have to develop your skills to a point. But there just comes a time when your competitor just outplays you because they are on fire, and you can't do anything about that except for try and contain it and then reset.
It's
So
true. Yep.
I'm telling you, my viewpoint of it is it could have been seen as a blowout, but I also know what both teams are capable of. And I only know that because of tracking the game, having the knowledge, having the passion to watch other plays, other matches they've been in. So I'm definitely on the side of I'm promoting every single athlete's play, regardless of how they're playing, because I know that to be at that level, they've earned that right to be there. It's a semifinal, for goodness sakes, or, they're playing, they've made it out of the qualifiers and into the main draw. I mean, that is an amazing task in itself. So
Oh,
I
no
just
doubt.
keep that in mind, just in the interest of growth of the game, and say, you know what, people need to change their mindset. I mean, I believe that you can be critiqued, but until you go out there and do it, you're only going to hold so much water with me in that argument.
Nah, 100%. I also think, as a commentator speaking for myself, the way I critique people is shaped by the people who shaped me. Okay, I've learned a lot about under Mario Trebic. He was the coach in the Olympics for the Netherlands in 92, 96. He
Mm-hmm.
won the silver and then won the gold against Italy. And he's a New Yorker, and he's a longtime referee. He's this old, crabby, blue-eyed Russian guy that just makes calls. He's so freaking blind right now. And if you're young, you're like, oh my God, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm just like, show some respect. Watch yourself. The guy, you've been coaching 50 years, you can't even imagine how many times the rules have changed. All right, between serve receive not being a double hit, between let serve rule, between being able to block a serve in 1984. You're allowed to block a serve in 1984. So I learned a lot under him because he did a lot of volleyball camps in New York. And his kids were growing up there. He's got a kid in St. John's. I actually coached his kid. I was a head coach at Hunter High School, this elite, and when I say elite, I mean elite as far as academics. This elite high school in New York, and I ended up coaching his son, who went to St. John's, and his other son went to Bronx Science, and I don't know where he is. So I learned from him. I learned the majority of my beach game I picked up from John Mayer. And if you pick it up from John Mayer, you pick it up from Aaron Mansfield. And John Mayer is also always about growth mindset. And with growth mindset doesn't come compliments all the damn time. You don't make the illogical leap where you say you suck, but you have to find this gray area where you're like, okay, you did this well. What did you do? What did you think you did well, and what do you want to do better next game? Boom, boom, boom. And as soon as you start commentating like that, sometimes there's always going to be someone that's sensitive to that criticism. Yeah. Okay. Like if you said Jake and Taylor are on fire, someone out there is gonna be like, oh, that's a slap in the face of Phil and Nick. We don't think it is. And I don't mean to get on a bandwagon fallacy when I say that the majority of the people don't think you did that. But you are respectful and you're careful, but at the same time, they have to let artists work. All right. Yeah. Me personally. Our styles are different. Even, man, I would love for us to do a game. If we did a game together, indoor or outdoor, the world would be set on fire. Whoosh. You know why? Because I've never seen two different personalities that have the same mission and the same respect and appreciation by our contemporaries, but have two completely different approaches. Rob, yeah. I attack volleyball players with volleyball. All right. Did I say something about your mother? No. Did I say did
Yeah.
I say you're ugly and your mother dresses you funny? No. Okay. Did I say go choke on a crouton, you skinny chick? No. So that's my
And
take.
that's the other Amazon Prime broadcast. You flip that toggle switch, it's the street version of commentary,
Ah,
which actually be kind of funny
yeah.
because I was sitting with two foreign players. We'll
Uh-huh.
just say one from Canada and the other from Latvia. You can guess who they were.
Yep.
We were watching the FIVB Pro Challenge,
Uh-huh.
and just hearing the chatter of them critiquing the play, I couldn't help but bust a gut laughing. That's what I'd want to hear.
Yeah. I think it's just who you are too. I
Yeah.
mean, and look, we pick up tips from other people. Like I basically called the whole game with Casey Patterson. He was at the qualifier in Huntington last year, and
Hmm.
I wanted to talk to him about Sports Academy and who was involved in this and that. And Jeff Samuels is playing, and he's like, "Yeah, it would have been nice if Jeff did this or whatever." And that was so cool coming from a player who
Yeah.
basically says the same thing we're saying. God, I got to see that match again. AVP put up, and I know you saw this, Karch and Kent
Yes.
against
Academy and yeah,
I call it the
Matters
passing,
Sports.
the Kings of the Beach passing of the torch. That's what I nicknamed it, the Kings of the Beach passing of the torch, because that was 1992, and the entire 80s was ruled by St. John and Randy, and Karch. Everybody's like, oh, he's been there too. He's been there, but he hasn't been there the whole time. If you remember, he was neck deep with the indoor team from the
Yep.
84 gold, 85 World Championship, 86 World Cup, 87 Pan Am Games, 87 Olympics, and then, no, sorry, 88 Olympics, and the 89 World Championship, beating the Soviet Union again, which
Yep.
88 was great because I thought those are the two best teams ever assembled going against each other. As far as
Oh yeah.
meritocracy is concerned, you couldn't ask for a better situation with the Soviet Union, which was an all-star team full of all the other
Yeah. They
countries in the
were.
United States. So,
They
you know,
set the standard for physicality back in the late '80s. I mean, they're like, wait, you can be that big and dominate that hard in volleyball?
yeah. So let me ask you something, because I gotta ask, and you're always asking people the questions, and I know a lot of people don't know a lot of things about you. That includes me.
Oh.
How did you start? When did you? What was your first gig doing color commentary?
I don't want to reference a year; it'll reveal my age. But we'll just say that I've done
We
28
already
years.
know you like 70, and Asians. And
Yeah,
look, Asian people, looking people, they don't have a middle age. They're young until they're old. So go
they
ahead.
turn 16, then they die. That's someone told me that. I'm like, you know what? You're actually right about that. And it was
Ooh.
another Asian guy. I'm not being insensitive for all you people out there. Another Asian guy told me that.
It's like, you son of a bitch. How dare you? No, go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I actually was
The
in
floor is
college.
yours.
Yeah, yeah. I was in college and couldn't end up playing that first season due to re-injured lower back, knee, and it took the entire time to try and rehab to get back into playing shape. So I had to pay my way through school. So one of the ways I did was um, being a lines official, believe it or not, for indoor, the men's team.
What school? What school
That
again?
UC Irvine.
Irvine. Go ahead. Yep.
Yep. So one night, the public address announcer didn't show up, and I happened to know the sports information director who coordinated the event operations. And she's a friend, a really close friend of mine. She goes, "I need you more on this mic than I do on that line because I can find anyone to do the line." And that was my first night on any kind of microphone, and it just kind of took off from there. I started indoor. I've been specifically indoor. First major championship was worked in '99. I'm going to drop some old school names here.
Let's do
It
it.
was at Long Beach State. They hosted the women's national championship. Addie Hochschild and Jen Thomas, Pacific versus UC Santa Barbara,
Wow.
in that NCAA or the Big West final. Phenomenal. They are just back then. So Addie Hochschild is 6'2", 6'3". So she was considered a giant back then. And Thomas was right around 6'1", 6'2" as well. So, and it was a slugfest between Pacific and Santa Barbara. So that was like my first major national gig because that was a televised match. Then I started getting other national championship opportunities all on the indoor side for men's and women's, and have been a mainstay at UC Irvine for, as long as I've been doing it. So my priority scale goes UC Irvine and, believe it or not, Newport Harbor High School. And I got to see Misty and April play during
Nice.
their years, and Jen Carey at Cal
Oh,
uh,
geez,
through their
man.
careers.
Talk about right place, right time, huh?
Yeah. And Dan Glenn. I mean, if you don't know who Dan Glenn is in high school volleyball, and you might as well not say, who's Tommy Chapins? Who's Michael Volley? You know, it's like, it's just one of those names in the
Ooh.
volleyball community.
Here's a YouTube link to integrate your brain.
Yeah. So I ended up picking up all the indoor gigs, doing the NCAA championships and the conference tournaments. And then I got the call for USA in 2008 to start working what used to be World League, which is now Volleyball Nations League. And I've been there since. Started jumping onto more recently, well, considerably. 2015 was my first beach play-by-play at Long Beach State for Flow Volleyball. So, and that was just, I will always feel super connected to the McNamara twins because they were my first ever match that I did in the number one pairs. So it was I'll say Megan and Nicole
Okay.
McNamara
Yeah, yeah,
against
yeah.
Rachel Nieto and Neela Barber.
Neela Barber. Okay. Dang.
So I loved it. I mean, doing the play-by-play commentary for beach. I mean, because I just feel there's not as many restrictions. You could be more free-flowing, and you can react, and it's okay. It's not as formal as the indoor game. Because I like to bring that kind of charisma to the indoor. But some people just don't dig it. They're too old school.
Yeah.
But I love celebrating the play of any athlete on the court, especially if it's something that's unique or powerful or a phenomenal defensive save. I'm gonna talk about it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Because
Well,
the game is phenomenal.
it really is. And
Watch
I got years back on my life uh,
it.
coaching.
Yep.
Maybe not commentating. I'll just call it a wash because I love the art
Yeah.
and science of play running indoor, whatever. But as far as a coach is concerned, I'm with Endless Summer for outdoor. I was also with John Mayer at LMU. I was director of operations out there, which is really another way to get a coach without calling him a coach. That's just how they're right. Come on,
Director of
that's
operations.
yeah. Well, it's so weird
Tech
because
coordinator.
it's weird. That title means something entirely different depending on your region, right? Like
Yeah.
in Texas, you just get director of operations. You're getting the coach's coffee, okay? And on the East Coast, you are a liaison between him and the athletic director. So anything he needs, so operational experience and this and that. So John, I'm like, listen, what do you mean? What director of operations? No, basically he wanted me to coach the coaches. Like he wanted me to videotape
Yeah.
all the practice and the games, give me 4 things I liked about practice or the game, 4 things I think they need to get better. You know,
Yeah.
first it was just me and him. Then he started sharing with Betsy and Aaron, and then sooner or later it's just back to me and him because some people just disagree. Taking nothing
Yeah.
away from
Yeah.
Aaron because Aaron's a savage. Aaron's one of the best indoor coaches I've ever met in my life. So no, but what we were saying before, beach, just coaching and playing. First of all, at the juniors level, the parents are the biggest difference in the world. All right.
Yep.
If you go into American Sports Center, you go to ACC, you go to wherever, Nevada, the parents look so angry and it's so hot, and they look like '90s rappers. They
That stank face, full time.
yeah. I'm like, dude, relax. You've won, right? In the
Black
'90s,
coffee,
you
no
won.
sugar, no
So no,
cream.
but, right? But you go outdoors. This one's sitting in a beach chair. She's
Yeah.
eating freaking. She's got a little bottle of wine. Eating sweet potato fries. Just happy.
Yeah.
Just happier than a mother. Just happy campers, and that includes the college events. Like
Yeah.
UCLA, you called some of their games. It's not on the beach, but even on the campus, it's laid back. Even the
Yeah.
campus games are laid back. Big West, that was I call us the Fab Five. I was gonna get into it later, but I guess I could tell everybody now. It was Dodd, Hav, Mewhirter, you and me. I called us. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
combination of other different people, but I called us the Fab Five. There are people who have star power that get themselves commentating jobs, and the respect that comes with their playing ability. Somehow, in some people's mind, think it automatically sends the good commentators. Sometimes it works, but I gotta be real. I'm a New Yorker. Sometimes it don't. And then you just have people who aren't as popular, but they have the gift of gab. So I thought this combination of the five people, like everyone knows Dodd, everyone regionally knows Hav, like next gener. With respect to Hav doesn't transcend to two generations, just one. So the indoor players aren't going to know who he is, and the outdoor, you got to smack him over the head a little bit. That's Hav. But to me, the common denominator, if you want a quality product, if you want to not necessarily do the right thing, do what's right for business, the bottom line is, can you do the job or not? Can you do the job or not? With you, the answer is absolutely 100% yes, okay? You passed the test. With me, the answer is yes. I passed the test. Got a 65. With Travis Mewhirter, a lot of people don't know about, but he's one of the most liveliest writers I've ever met, I've ever seen in volleyball and in other sports too. Passed the test. Dodd, he's all right. He's all right. I know all right is like, to some people sounds like I'm disrespecting him. No, keep it real. Nope. This is a podcast. He's all right. Hovland, he's all right. Hovland, his biggest challenge is probably watching his mouth. The dude talks like a truck driver sometimes. And I should talk, right? I should talk.
That's standard New York. That's good. That's acceptable New York, right?
Yeah.
That's subway talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, so one of my highlights.
This episode is sponsored, so I'm veering away from that, man. You should have heard me yesterday. Yesterday, oh my God, we had some stories to tell, and I went on a rant because we were talking about bullying. I had Nate Lombardi, actor, entrepreneur. He was on Sex and the City. He was on a bunch of NCIS whatever those cop shows are. And he founded a group called the Groovy Projects, which is dedicated to positive mindset for youth, for schools, and to promote anti-bullying. And I just went on this insane rant where the F word. I dropped the F word consciously. I said, I know I'm going to get in trouble with this. And I said, F.
You mean FedEx? That's the F word.
Yes,
right?
I said FedEx bullies. FedEx bullies. You can go FedEx yourselves. I said picking on somebody because you're bigger or they're smaller or weaker, picking on someone because their hair is white, picking on someone because, they're smart or whatever. I said BS, bull jive. Bull jive. I just went off on this because, I was bullied. I was bullied. I was pushed to a point, not where I was drawn into a corner, where I was scared of everywhere. I was pushed to a point where I snapped. And like when I snapped, my response was disproportionate. I almost choked the life out of this dude. I just snapped. Everyone, Jason, said Jason went crazy, but I'm like, no, Jason went Jason. And then it was a Russian guy, Brighton Beach guy that was connected. So after school, they had like 30 guys waiting for me. So for almost a year, and no one knew this. My mother never even knew this. But for almost a year, I never went back to school. I just didn't go back to school. I went to Coney Island. I went to the arcades in Coney Island. And, I could play Gauntlet for like a quarter, because I knew how to last long on 25 cents. And I would, for 4 hours a day.
Fish line in the string?
Yeah, yep. Nah, but basically Gauntlet is your health ticks down at a 1 second pace. But if you eat food, you get 100 points for health. So I found a way to not get hit and at the same time eat a lot of food. So my health started at 600 and I would finish at like 10,000, where basically it would take 2 days to kill me. So for a year. So and I don't even know where I was going with this. I was just talking about bullying. But I guess
we were talking about those guys, the Fab Five at the all the events that we were doing the commentary for.
And I'm gonna give you the floor, but I wanted to leave it this. The question is, can you do the job or not? Star power versus gift of gab.
Yeah. I feel like the gift of gab is the natural outpouring of someone who has a genuine love and passion for the game.
Yep.
Because
it comes from that.
Yeah. Because I honestly, I don't know all the strategy. I don't know all the mechanics of the beach game because it's excelled to the levels they're playing at now. There's so much to learn that I try to just be the student of the game, kind of just glean the information from the athletes and personalities I know, the coaching staffs that I know, and I've figured it out. I sit, like, for instance, Bakara Palmer on the Australian national team.
Yeah.
So I developed a rapport with her. We've been talking online, and I actually had her as one of my first guests on the podcast.
I saw it.
But she started a beach online volleyball clinic. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go, check it out. And she has some great content on her page. So you can sign up. It's like $100 when you transfer the money through some online thing. But she has 4 modules that covers some of the basics, but goes pretty deep on some of the strategy too of beach volleyball. Like I love to do those things. I mean, if I see another athlete like Betsy Flint puts up stuff on her social, I'm going to watch it because I'm going to learn from it. But my other bit is supporting those particular personalities and athletes because they are doing so much for the game. Even Mark Burek does some really good stuff on his social. I want to know more about the game. I'd want to find out from any of the people who are in that game today. So I try and channel their passion from what they're teaching me, although they don't know it, and bring it to what I'm doing on the microphone. And I'll give them credit where credit is due because I want to see the game grow. I want to see the personalities become more common in the public eye. I want to see them get those endorsement deals. I want to be like Betsy Flint. I want to be like Emily Day. I want to be like Misty May. I like hearing that. So it
Me
means
too.
that they're getting out there publicity wise. So, I want to be like Jake, because these guys, they don't get to see that side of them. But once they start connecting that they are just regular people also,
No
I
doubt.
really believe that that connection, that intimate connection to the game will build their passion for the game.
Yeah, I support that because as far as being an elite athlete, the training, the general nutrition that comes with that, these people work just as hard as if you talk about the big three: basketball, football, baseball. The training that they put in is definitely more than baseball and rivals basketball and is just behind football. That's how I view beach volleyball players at the elite level. At the elite
Mm-hmm.
level, I'm talking world scene all the way to the top echelon of the AVP. And I would, just like you, I want them to have the same level of respect and appreciation because, as far as like certain athletes and personalities that come with them choosing that sport, this, besides mixed martial arts, there's no better people to chill and chat with and get to know their
Yeah.
side than volleyball players. I shit you not, man. It is awesome talking to some of these people. I mean, I like volleyball better than some of the major sports is because Dana White said this one time. It was a Lakers game, and his kid is at the
Mhm.
Lakers game, and the game's over, and like some of the kids have their hand out, and maybe for like a high five, and it would mean everything in the world if like the player just looked up, maybe not high five, just acknowledge, maybe a fist bump, and they just keep going and don't look up, and
Yeah.
Dana was like, nobody on my sport's gonna do that. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna find
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
pink slip in your Christmas stocking. Um, and volleyball players, as far as the fans have been concerned, have been so accessible, and in many instances more so than the media. Right? Because fans, they
Yeah.
just want to autograph, they want a picture. The media, man, I don't want to be asking all these damn questions. you
Yeah.
know. So I get that. Me, I did media for a year. I don't really. I did media because when I moved, there's a way I needed to acclimate myself and get to know the players and players to get to know me. So I knew
Mhm.
when I moved here in 2016, I knew I had to do at least 1 year of coaching on the beach, 1 year
Mhm.
of media, and I did it for volleyball one-on-one. We all know Andor July. So
Yeah.
I went to all the events and they were a lot of them were nice enough to talk about process and technique. Process,
Right.
preparation, and technique. That was the focus of my media obligation to Andor. Um, and it's happened so fast. Like me just
Mhm.
stepping on the scene, success has happened so fast. I'm glad this COVID thing happened. I need to step back. I don't want to be one of these young people that think they got it all figured out. Just like you, the thing that makes you good is that you don't know everything. You haven't got it all figured out. But it's perfectly human to be like, damn, I got it made when things happen so fast, and that's when I'm like, the
Yeah.
other side is me like, yo, you know, pump the
Well, one of
brakes.
the things I like to tell the people when they ask me, like, well, you know, you're great. I'm like, thank you. But I always in the back of my mind, like, you got to approach everything you do with humility.
Yep.
And, you got to be thankful for the position that you're in. And, I think just by nature, like you said, you moved here in 2016. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
And so I have the benefit of being a long termer here in the Orange County area. So I've seen a lot of these athletes play from club through high
Man,
school
talk
to
about taking
collegiate
the
and now
journey, huh?
international. Like
Yeah.
April Ross, I could show you the Newport Harbor annual for that team that she was a senior on. Sarah Hughes, her brother was a two-time national champion at UC Irvine. I would see this little, at the time I was taller than her. At one point I was taller than her. At 5'5", a little blonde haired, blue eyed girl watching Connor Hughes matches. Little come to know, it's Sarah Hughes. you know, you've got these other people like
Yeah,
that.
she was
Miss.
on your show.
So
She
with
was
that,
on your
it
show,
takes.
right?
What's that?
She was on your show.
Yeah, she was.
Yep.
And I mean, and now she's on a worldwide commercial to encourage people, and she's making such a positive impact. Have you seen that powerful Nike commercial? We all play for the same team. It's like we may not be playing in front of international crowds. We may not be playing the Olympics. We're playing for a much bigger cause. We're playing for 3.7 billion people.
Yep.
And they show her training in her driveway in Hermosa Beach.
Yeah.
They did this compilation of all these athletes training at home, and she was one of them. So, but knowing these athletes personally for as long as I have, I can't help but be fans of them. Sarah Sponsel, she's like my first interview on beach. So I'll always feel this connection to her. And
So
then
jealous.
I enjoy what she's doing. And she's in Arizona right now, but she's hating being there. But, she has been one of the best personalities to talk to, along with Sarah Hughes, Kelly Clays. And then, on the guys' side, there's Jake Gibb and Nick Lucena. Like, they've always been so accommodating. And I can tell that they know they have a fan base, and they are so a huge part of growing the game. So I'm so appreciative of the time they take, and the just the vulnerability they have, and they're just wanting to share about who they are and what they do and how they do it.
Yeah, and big up to the generations of like your generation, the people that take the time to give back and take the time to put into it to promote the sport of volleyball, where so many have just taken the money and run. I mean, you look at this time period where the AVP was offering six-figure salaries, all the way up to the point where they were bankrupt twice, all the way to this huge circle the wagons comeback. I think right now, as far as exposure is concerned, and as far as like the atmosphere is set up, I think it's better now. Like I watched like that jam packed thing, the King of the Beach torch passing match we were talking about, and I watched Hawaii last year. And as far as the feeling and the emotion that I had and the nostalgia I felt from watching, I got more from Hawaii last year. Of course, that might be a generational thing. Like if you're emotionally invested in someone, you take a longer journey. Of course, that's going to be more irreplaceable than what I saw. So I'm not trying to make a comparative here. But if you're trying to generate fans interest in the sport, people who don't watch the sport, people who are indoor players who watch indoor, are you trying to get them to the beach? You're not trying to take them all the way back to a generation that took the money and ran. You're trying to get them right here, right now. And if I landed on this planet and wanted to know about volleyball, and I saw that tournament in Hawaii, that if you remember, it was Brunner and Hayden from the qualifier all the way to the finals. That's a journey. You laughed, you cried, you cheered for them, you booed the refs, you felt like you were there on the court, and that's where I think Donald Son and Jeff Conover and I look at these guys who are running the AVP, and I'm like, dude, you got it right. You got this one. You got this one right. I mean, they've endured so much criticism. And I've been one of their biggest critics, and I talked to Jeff, and Jeff said, "I don't care as long as it's fair. If it's not unfair, if it's unfair, then I got a problem, I went from someone to saying, I'm like, dude, my girlfriend used to go to the AVP games because they weren't crowded. What I'm saying? You go to UCLA, against USC or whatever, but she said she liked going to the AVP games because they weren't crowded. So you went from that in 2016 to these venues that are just jam packed. The new players coming in, Kraft, Maple, Chrissy Jones, Munoz, semifinals. Betsy Flint, that generational age group ready to lead and take it. Kelly Clays. You talked a lot about Sarah Hughes. What about Kelly? And these are just the women. So wow. Wow, I'm very, very excited.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. So I was on a panel last night for Volley On Together, and Jake was on that panel as well. And he said one thing that's so powerful, that I'm hoping we'll get generating around the internet about what he said. But what Donald Sun is doing for the AVP is essential for the growth of volleyball. What he's doing is so powerful. He's putting it out there. He's got the prime video contract. You're seeing other courts being played, and it's giving other people who aspire to be professional volleyball players just the hope that they could be on that screen as well and competing at the highest levels. And without the AVP, what other platform is there? So,
Platform.
I enjoy the product that the AVP is doing, and I know there's a huge team behind Donald, like Josh Glazebrook. There's Marty Swan, and of course Jeff Conover, and there's this entire marketing staff, and of course you have everything down to DJ Roche and Mark Sherman and Kevin Barnett, Cameron Irwin. We're going to drop all these names, but they do such a phenomenal job. And now Dane is, well,
Roche's all right too. Let me tell you something. Roche's all right. Like I grew up around DJs. My boy DJ Stoon is now this world-renowned guy, and I had him on the podcast too. And he's like, he said he doesn't think there's a better DJ for the sport of volleyball. FIVB, everyone has their guy. There's, as far as his ability as a DJ and how it applies to sports and the venues, there's nobody better. He's platinum. He's and this came from a real New York grinder who goes to Brazil 4 times a year, who goes to London 4 times a year. He doesn't, if you're DJing and it is your sole source of income, you're working for Verizon. I think Roche's still working for Verizon or whatever. And it's your sole source of income. And this is all you do day and night. You buy an apartment in New York and you got so much money, you move your mother in next door. She's in the same building in an apartment because you're a mama's boy. So when someone like that is saying Roche is ill, Roche is platinum.
Well, I got to share in his special moment too, because I was watching the Olympics in 2016, and Mike Tirico on the recap of the Olympic Play of the Day goes, I'd say I was at the beach volleyball event today, but the MVP was not a player. It was DJ Roche. Yep. It's like, oh, mic drop, boom.
I love it. So give me 2 things that you liked with the AVPs done the last 2 years that made them better. 2 things.
Oh, wow. Just 2, huh?
Well, we'll go 1 and 1. We could go 1 and 1. You go first, I go, then you go, and I go. We'll do 4 together.
Well, I already alluded to it, but I think the Prime Video streaming is huge, not just on center court, but the outer courts as well, has been a big change in the right direction for AVP.
No doubt. I was, this is like the movie 8 Mile, man. You like Eminem. You took everything I was going to say against you, and you said it first. Everybody from the 313.
I'm so gangsta. I'm from 949. What do you mean?
Oh my God. That's nice. This is what I liked. I like the since you use Prime, I'll go co-promotions. I like that at least one time a year, the last couple of years, FIVB, AVP did Huntington. They did the same thing in Cincinnati a couple of years ago. I like that they're keeping the FIVB as much involved in some sort of media way, and their ability to release some of the players to compete in the FIVB when there's only eight stops. If you remember, I think Kelly Clay's only played in like 4 or 5 of them, and like this team only played in like 5 or 6. So the AVP's flexibility to allow people to play in FIVB and a little bit, and we'll get in the platform later, and a little bit if platform has some tournaments in the off season, because these people have to make their money, right?
Yeah.
If the AVP has 20 stops, make money AVP. You got 8 stops, you got to let them make their money. What's the second thing?
I'm kind of. I want to go to something micro, but I feel like I should mention something macro. But I'm going to go to the micro, because on the Prime Video broadcast, for the viewer who can't be there, I love all the little awards they've incorporated to the play.
Oh, the hammers?
The extra effort, the progressive hammer of the day. All those awards just keep me so engaged. Like you see this, the monster hydro block of the day. I love seeing all the different products being brought into the play, but it also adds a certain level of color as a commentator that I enjoy. Right. It's like, oh, the hydro monster block,
Yeah. Yeah. This is the other thing I liked. I was actually going to say talk and switch, but that's new. I like the idea, but I haven't seen it implemented, so I can't really introduce that as an improvement if they haven't done it yet. Coaches are allowed to switch and talk now. We're at FIVB. You're not even allowed to have a coach in the box, but I do like the idea that, college, you get to talk and switch. The AAUs, you can only talk during the timeouts. So the AVP
Mhm.
found a happy medium on the domestic tour where you're trying to I mean you like the tennis format, but you're trying not to, but you're not tennis, you're not trying to be completely like tennis. I mean, because tennis
Yeah.
already enjoys a level of success because they've been at it long term. So I do like the idea of the talk and
Mhm.
switch. I do like that. Now here's one thing I think the AVP could do to improve. I'll go first. All right. So this way, it's like an idea will pop up in your head, and and it allows you to choose your words carefully, because I know everyone's trying to do that, and ain't nobody trying to step on nobody's toes except for me. Like I said this yesterday, and I'll say it today. I'm not this way because I'm on camera. I'm on camera because I'm this way. Um, One, you're gonna have three courts. I want three sets of commentators. Um, I want Rob Espero to call one of those courts with someone. I like it because they have people calling center court. I would like
Mhm.
to see them add commentating teams for all three courts. Moreover, I want you to definitely be calling one of those. I again, it's about being able to do the job. Kevin Barnett, I gave him on the media. I've been talking. It sounds like I'm talking badly about him, but I think one of the things I said, he's painful to listen to because I think he's trying to show a personality where he thinks he's funny and he's not. I don't think he's funny. He is the best indoor commentator I have ever seen in in my volleyball life. I'll just say volleyball because I put him right up there with football, with Tony Romo, basketball. Maybe not Marv Albert, but Collins, because Marv Albert's the best ever. But indoor, he's the best volleyball commentator I have ever seen in my life, and that rivals Chris Marlowe, that rivals Paul Sunderland. We going back because
Mhm.
indoor is my wheelhouse too. I he works so hard at this. His mom's a vocal trainer, and I understand that, and I know he's going to continue to get better. But he's one of the people that I gave a lot of like. Just I was open about, like, oh my God, this dude, stop trying to be funny, dude, stop, but it's my misunderstanding more about what they're trying to do. But the one thing I want to see the AVP do, I want them to have a personality like you on one of the courts. I of course, if they call me, I will just say my name. I will pick up the phone and do that. You know what I mean? And I would do it, and I would have fun. You know what I'm saying? I would
Yeah.
like them to see people who's not just star power allows them the opportunity to succeed or fail, but the people who've been in the grind the whole time. Give them the shot. You're not only a good commentator, you have good feedback. You have people
Mhm.
tapping you on the shoulder. My friends from Wisconsin, they're listening to you right now. They think you're great. That's
Wow.
that's feedback. Not feedback
Yeah.
because you're stuck there alone and you're doing the best you can and people are like, "No, go Rob, go." No, not that kind of feedback, cuz that's good too. It's for people like Try Born. Maybe he was up there by himself. You're doing great, Try. Hang in there. You know what I'm saying? Ball served, out. um, so so I want and it's your turn because I'm talking a lot. But I want commentators, and I went way too far, of course. But I want commentators for each court, and I think some of these volleyball personalities, I might be too over the top for them, but I definitely would love to see you there. You know, if they
Well,
call me or
one.
not, I've already won in life. If they call me or not, I'm fine. If they don't, I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
50 this year. I could go die tomorrow. I've won. you
You
know.
didn't turn 16 and die like the Asians. You were 50.
Oh, way to go. Put me in a coffin with a smile on my face. They're like, damn, he looks so good. Damn, that boy looks good. It's like, stop staring at the dead body, please.
Well, I'm
So, your
humbled by
turn.
your comments. It's, yeah, I definitely agree with you on the commentary on the outside courts or the outer courts.
Mm,
And, um, one of the things that I would love to see, just because seeing it on the indoor game and how it plays out, is the instant replay, the ability to challenge calls. Because
Ooh,
I mean, the way
catch
that
people in their lies.
I
Sorry, go ahead.
MC host it, and when it's there in the arena and we're doing the replay, it is some of the funnest but most intense like few seconds as we're waiting for the judgment by the video review referee to pass the information down to the R1 R2. So I
Hmm.
would love to see video replay incorporated into the AVP. If I know it, you got to have a lot of cameras, but man, it would add such a great element to it.
Oh wow, you catch people in their lies too. Well, oh yeah, look at the big screen. What does God say? You ever see like basketball players? When they look up to see if there was a foul or not. You're gonna see all the volleyball players taking off
Oh
the
my God.
shades, take off the shades, and
Yeah.
what does God say?
Yeah. Jay, I wanted to comment on something you'd said, but the feedback that you get, and one of the things that I've been totally blessed by in the last 4 seasons I've been doing this is having the ability to receive input real time from people who are listening, and some of the people I've received the feedback from, you may recognize some of the last names: Kraft, Maple, Riley of Cal Poly.
Yeah,
That's how I've become connected to these families, the Harvard family. They've sent feedback, and we've just had a good dialogue. And from that, I've realized you got great kids who are competitors. The Shoji family, indoor side. The Smiths, the Patches, and the Sanders. I mean, I'm really connected to the all the Sanders. So, you know, they just the fact that they would take the time to give me the comment and say, you know what, you're pretty good tonight. That was funny. I like that. Or you weren't so hot. I really appreciate it, 'cause it means we have relationship. And
yeah,
I'm telling you, what the world needs right now is just the ability to accept some criticism and not get pissed off about it.
yeah. And again, the criticism is not outside the
Yeah.
scope of volleyball.
Yeah.
Like one of the players was like, "Oh man, I didn't like what you said," and I was like, "What did I say personally?" And they're like, "No, you said I should have did this," and I'm like, "But that's volleyball, right?" Yeah, you are allowed to attack a volleyball player with volleyball, and the longer you've been in the business, the longer playing experience or prior playing experience has little to nothing to do with it. Okay, you got
Yeah.
Derek Fisher coaching the Knicks. All right, he's an NBA champ. He can't coach. He can't coach. You got Steve Kerr. He turns out he can. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? There's certain people that get groomed, and you're like, what the hell have they done to deserve it? But deserve has nothing to do with it if what you're saying is fair and if what you're saying makes sense.
Yeah.
The second thing I want them to do, and it's connected to the first, I want some kind of at least one court coverage for the qualifiers because the AVP, particularly on the women's scene, has become so deep the last few rounds of the qualifier, where like, or I could just use the men as an example. You got good teams. You got Kyle Friend and this dude, didn't even make the draw in Hermosa Beach. Friend and Budinger,
Yep.
Duncan Budinger. And the only reason why I knew is I was coaching Earl Schultz and Jake, and they
Oh,
were in
okay.
our bracket. So when they lost, I'm like, dude, we're in. In my mind, I'm not telling my team that, but I'm like, stylistically, with Styles making matchups, there's nobody. Evan Corey is a good player, pain in the ass
Yep.
lefty, but I knew there wasn't anyone stylistically that was going to stop us from getting into the draw.
Yeah.
Jake Arudia and Earl Schultz. They never made the draw, and they picked me up, and that was the one time they made the draw. They dumped me for P1440 because the coaching's free. So between having to pay me and getting Pompeo and Arturo for free, you're gonna, smart people are gonna choose them. Yeah,
Unless they want the New York attitude, they need that game
yeah.
attitude.
Or unless they want someone that works harder. How about that for slapping someone in the face? No, I'll bring it back. There is nobody in P1440 or those coaches that the night before a tournament that watches video against their opposition, that breaks it down, makes notes, 3 ways to beat this team, 3 things this team likes to do. Arturo and Pompeo's with me at Endless Summer. He's one of our coaches. They're not doing that the night before. No, they show up. They're from Brazil, and that's good enough to win. And it has been good enough to win. And the one
Yeah.
thing that I think puts me on the level as them, not better, but as far as the catch-up game, I'm kind of right there with them. I'm up later than they are.
Yeah.
I'm up there, and nobody can disrespect that. Everybody can respect that. Just like the respect I have for Pompilo and Arturo is profound. He's been coaching
Yeah.
beach for 30 years,
'It just
30.
becomes instinctual for them, but for those of us learning the game, some people just have that natural talent to process data and communicate it well and get that message across, whereas
He's
some have to
so
work
much
harder
better.
at it.
He's so much better than me at that. He said, you know what he said one time? We were coaching AVP first. Where the endless summer we have we're the nation's leader in commitments per capita. We have 8
Hmm.
commitments out of a 21 person group. So we have 4 girls going to SC, 2
Wow.
going to Long Beach State. We got 1 going to Arizona and 1 going to GCU. So people that don't know what I'm doing on the down low, you've been educated. So Pompeo during the timeout, and I'm always nosy. I'm listening, and he says in 5 words: "Good serves makes good defense."
Yeah.
English is not his first language. Good serves makes good defense. Do you know how many words it takes me to say what he said in 5? I would be like, use your serve to space, left shoulder. Okay, they'll pop one up, you get some free balls, maybe you get an ace. That is too many words. That's too many. What I said makes sense, but that's too many words, especially for that age group. Good
Mhm.
serves makes good defense. I'm getting housed by a guy that doesn't even speak English. Or he does, sorry. I mean, not his first language. So,
Yeah, me fail English, that's impossible, right? That one.
what the hell wants you from a man who's years old as 900? English perfect? Uh, so, second thing, one thing you want to see a little bit better as far as the curve for the AVP.
Yeah, I don't know how realistic it can be, especially being post COVID, because we're gonna see the other side of this. But somehow to get the player engagement with the fan base just a little bit more. I know that they get in competitive mindset come, elimination Saturday, championship Sunday, but I mean, you got to play to the fan base just to like put your face out there and have the athletes say, "Hey, thank you for coming on out," because that I think that'll go a long way
Yeah.
for the growth of the game.
Yeah. Do you know what's helped me? This is before I moved to California. My girlfriend was like, dude, let's go on a volleyball vacation. I'm like, so SOB, South of the Border
Yeah.
Vacations, it's Davenport.
Yep.
We have friends, the Karens family. I'm close with them. Rafa Rodriguez knew some people. I was
Hmm.
his analytics coach for a while. Still for him, not for Ed, but for him. So I went there, and the pros were John Mayer, Betsy Flint, Ali and Kevin McCulloch, Ty Trambly, and Derek Olson. So
Not bad.
so what we did, we took a boat ride, and we speed up the boat, and there's like a school of dolphins jumping up and down, showing off. And at the end of the boat ride, we docked, and they all sat on stools, and there was a 40-minute Q&A, just taking questions from all of the people who are on the volleyball vacations. I was there just to chill. My girl was there for the tournaments. My girl
Yeah.
wanted to play in all of the tournaments. Me, I just wanted to play in the exhibition games, indoors versus the pros, because I was still representing. I played with Balmeso. I set for
Mhm.
them a little bit, and they went to nationals. They won nationals in 2004 and 2005. Only lost like a set. It's the only guy that spoke English. But so I got to play against John Mayer and with Ty against Mark Cairns, and then I get to play with
Mhm.
John Mayer against Ty and then Mark Cairns. So, and I got housed. Let me. You know why? It takes you like 4 or 5 plays to become acclimated to what the wind's gonna do and the sun in your eyes. Because Central Park, the beach course, there's no sun. The trees block it. It's no deep sand. It's Central Park sand. So, and you don't play. You use it as a cross trainer to play for indoor. So,
Right.
so the
Yeah.
2 things that cemented me was John Mayer. I was playing him on the hatch off of 1 block, just defense, and I knew it was gonna be hard. So I came in. I'm like, if he hits me in the face, he hits me in the face, and he snapped his wrist, and it bounced right in front of me, and I went. Like the bounce, you just kind of move out the way, and then everybody starts laughing, and the score is like 3-3, right? So one
Yep.
play later, Mark's trying to block Ty. He passes the ball, and I was doing this. I was facing this way, and my platform's doing this. So when you do
Uh-huh.
that, your platform, we're here. Betsy teaches you face your platform. It angles here.
Yep.
But if you do this, your angle's up. So what does it do? It pops up, but goes behind you, right? So I did one of these, pops up. Ty runs, takes both hands, just sets, just flings it out. And John's
Yep.
playing me on the hatch, and I move and I snap my wrist, boom, and I took this bounce off the sand and I put one in front of him, and everyone just said, "Oh!" Now I lost 15-4, whatever. But the thing that made John smile was because I'm left-handed too. It was almost identical shot that he hit at me. So he's just like, I love that. And he's like, he says, I had to play you for real because the fans are watching. I had to, right? If I played you, that's the way he respects people. And I like that. He doesn't like play around with you. If he's a pro and if he's 11 points better, he's gonna beat you by 11 points. And that's where his and our relationship solidified. Next thing you know, he's like, hey, come work with me at LMU a little bit. Me and Aaron and Betsy and John's still one of my favorite people. But my love, as far as indoor coaches, I fell in love with Aaron Mansfield. The dude is a savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm playing in Santa Barbara days.
Yeah.
Former Gaucho.
Yeah. How about playing with Theo Brunner too? He's Theo Brunner's partner for a little bit.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
I had Theo on my show. Theo told me. Theo told me. Nice. So you done some really, really good work pretty much from high school all the way up to, I looked at I read your bio. Let's go back. Let's have a little fun. Let's go back to the Big West tournament last year for beach volleyball, 2019. Basically, it finished with Todd, with Cal Poly and Hawaii. Yep. What was one of the more fun matches you got to see or call? Because a lot of our matches finished early, and you and I got to share a little bit. So let's get the fans engaged, and we can take them with us on this.
Well, it's a toss-up, but I'm going to go with the Chrissy Jones and Tia Mirich in the number ones, taking in Hawaii for the championship. I mean, you knew Chrissy was going to be special. She was literally, if there's a plane in the sky, she was swatting that down too. Anything that flew over, she's blocking everything.
Yeah, Mayday, Mayday.
Sorry. Mirich on defense was just getting really good reads, there's such a she's able to read off of Chrissy's block. They were just, you knew that they were going to take all their number ones that day. So, and then of course that is it the number 5 pairs that ended up deciding the dual victory in the championship. We were there on that court sitting on the end line, but just seeing the excitement of collegiate beach, you couldn't have asked for a better atmosphere and a setup for a championship matchup, because it came down to one final match. All the athletes were camping on one court, just like the 2 USC UCLA matchups this year. It came down to the number 5 matches, or number 5 pairs.
Like 1917 too.
Yeah. 2-2, they're going toe-to-toe, point for point, and it could have gone either way. And that Big West Championship matchup was incredible. I was so excited for Todd, and I love Jeff at Hawaii, but man, you could just tell that the way the momentum was shifting, it was going to be really hard to pull it from Cal Poly, because even though they were, Hawaii was siding out, but Hawaii just had a little extra zip on each of their plays, a little more energy, and you could tell that they were going to grab it towards the end.
I actually want to see if I can find it. I want to see.
You're pulling it up on the internet, huh?
Pull up the last. Well, I taped it. I taped a match point. We finished early, man. Cal Poly. God, this girl's name escapes me, and I guess at this point it doesn't really matter much. But we finished early, and your court. I don't know which court you were. Court 2.
I was on the 3s. I was
4.
Jalen Riley and Kat Wright, or Cassandra Wright, whatever she prefers to go by, but they were pretty dominant on my court. I mean, we were 2 and out on all my matches.
Oh, here it is. 2019 final moments. I'm gonna switch on the
and advantage.
You can hear it, so bear with me.
Cross court. Drop.
So it's a 1-minute clip.
The wind is
And,
right to left.
You know
on
me, the commentator
TV
just took over.
That's Ocean
Hope it's
Estrada,
not too
right
loud
to
for you.
left.
Just bear with me.
Look at the flag blowing in the background, slightly diagonally away from us. That gives
appreciation.
Cal Poly advantage side, where they try to drop one out of position 1 or
Let's
zone
see.
1. You better
They
believe
serve
it.
to
They go for
position
it. High
1,
pass.
set out of the middle.
That one's tight. That's trouble.
And it was an
Doug.
overpass.
Looking the
And
side
then
out.
they dug the
Another tight
overpass.
tap.
And then she
Finishing it
blocks
off!
for the game. And that was it.
And champions!
And then, of course, like a zombie apocalypse, everybody storms the field.
Yeah, that was a great time up there at Zuma.
I was so
you know,
privileged to be a part of it. Yeah.
but in all honesty, even being able to speak to all the coaches and the athletes at that tournament, and there's just such a good vibe. And I love the vibe at the duels. You know, the beach culture is definitely inherent, at least in the Big West, Pac-12. It just you can tell, and even the WAC. You know, there's like a laid back
Yeah.
attitude, and it's just a great place to be.
Well, as far as beach volleyball, the big three, all of them were decided by the last pair and decided by 2 points. I believe the pack was decided by the pair two, Sponsel and
Justine
against
that
Therese
would have
Cannon.
been Paletto.
Huh?
No, was that Paletto and
Paletto was
Cannon?
3. I think she was the 3 back
Okay.
then. But it was Therese Cannon and
Demi Slater.
Yeah. And the week before, the WCCs, Pepperdine and LMU got knocked to the losers bracket, came all the way out of hell to beat Pepperdine not once but twice. And that was decided by, and I'm pulling this up too.
Slattery Dowd? No, they were in the threes,
No, it
right?
was Emma Dowd and Veronica. There, I just knew her as V, and her name escapes me right now. WCC Beach Volleyball. Let's pull that up. It finished with a block. It was like a pop-up block from like our angle. Like if you have a back shot, you weren't really sure which side it landed on, because from our back shot, you know it landed, and you're like, okay, whose side did it land on? Right? You're just like, okay, let me figure this out. So I'm pulling that up right now. Just the last point. Let's see. Championship opportunity. Yeah, there was a block that popped up and down, and I didn't know. I wasn't calling this, by the way. I was just showing support for Don.
To serve, match point.
And here's match point. You'll hear it.
There's a knee!
And then, of course, the zombie apocalypse. Girls screaming their brains out. And John Mayer, it's so weird because everyone's losing their mind. And John, if you look at him, he has this really calm look on his face. He's smiling because he never not smiles. And, yeah, he just like pumps his fist like, wow, cool, my check came in the mail. You know, but everyone else is like doing cartwheels and wow, what an exciting time. So I call them the Big Three conferences. We're all decided by the last pair. Yep, and which is going to my next topic. I'll call it a last but not least, but Jesus Christ, it's getting hot in our rooms right now. We turned off our central air, right? So so we don't have to turn the gain all the way up on our mic. I would like for them to do the same thing they do for football as far as NCAA. I would like them to sway 8 spots, because I think John said there's going to be 9. John thinks personally it should be 12, and I think they're pushing for 12. But let's assume there'd be 8 spots, all right? I would like automatic bids to go to the Power 5. I would like whatever conference LSU is in, whatever conference the Carolinas are in, the PAC, the WCC, and the Big West. And then from there, 3 at-large bids. So whether you do 10 spots or 12, I would like the Power 5 to be automatic bids. And my Power 5 are WCC, that's Pepperdine, that's LMU. They're always in the top 20. St. Mary's, uber competitive, always in the top 25. Nobody really knows them because if you're not in the top 10, it's like people don't care.
Jeff Alzina's there, right? Is that correct?
No, he's Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, that's right.
Yeah.
Well,
and oh my God,
they'll change too.
Of course.
My bad.
Let me tell you something. Listen, every time there was someone succeeding, I look under the umbrella and there he is. The Partains make the main draw. 17 and 15 years old. Who's under that umbrella? Trevor Crabb gets to the finals multiple amount of times with his brother Taylor and Rosie. Look under that umbrella. You know, this dude is the original Savage. He's my outdoor Aaron Mansfield. You know. And
if you want a good podcast guest, he's got some great entertaining stories.
I am when this was a tube cast, I had him and Jaron Barreto. Well, you know Jaron. We all love us some Jaron. And It was about an hour. The podcast is actually 38 minutes, a tubecast. But what we talked about for an hour and 10 minutes, not on camera, was embarrassing to me that I didn't. Well, I don't share it. It's because when it was over, the camera was still running. So I played back the conversation we had. Wendy Jones was there in the room, just in the room.
Yeah.
Jaron was there. I was there. And it's just mind blowing. And Jaron never met Jeff. So that was a great meeting of the minds because Jaron is one of the best coaches no one talks about. He worked really hard with Kelly Clays, blah, blah, blah.
Well, let me ask you this.
Please.
You're saying Power 5, but I mean, I feel like this last year, especially with like teams like South Carolina upsetting USC and Florida State making the big jump. I mean, it's almost like the talent is spreading throughout the nation from Collegiate Beach.
Yep. Yeah. So South Carolina, wouldn't they be in the Carolinas conference? They would get that automatic bid. Coastal Carolina, they're not going to be worse off. A friend of mine, Justin Stack, was on that team, and they got rid of him, which I think is the biggest mistake in beach volleyball because he's one of the hardest working coaches no one knows about. But in the New York area, there was no one more respected, if not more talented. Florida State, I don't know if them and LSU are in the same conference. But that's where the at-large bid comes in. Like UCLA plays USC in the pack, right? We all know they're both going, right? It's not like LMU and Pepperdine where like if LMU wins or loses, Pepperdine's gonna go. And it's not like Cal Poly in Hawaii. Like Cal Poly got snubbed the year before, so you knew there was a lot of pressure on them to win just to whatever because they knew Hawaii was gonna go no matter what. So that's where the at-large bids come into play. The 3 at-large bids, It's because I don't want to sound West Coast biased to divide 4 and 4. It just seemed ludicrous, but they did give me a big shit burger to eat, right? Because Stetson did beat USC, right?
Yeah.
What the hell are they doing in this tournament? Well, they're beating the number 1 seed. That's what they're doing,
Yeah.
Florida International. Duran's daughter, Presley Forbes, is there. They got some good things going on. A bunch of crazy Brazilians coaching that program as well. Tulane's got a new coach from Israel. I don't know him personally, but through mutual friends, I understand he's very capable, and you're gonna get to know him well enough soon enough. So, thoughts.
TCU. I mean, there's all these teams that are picking up. And you're seeing some of the talent. You got to look at Cal. I mean, it's big for them to lose El Lindell, but it's Cal. They're going to get better. Stanford is, Andrew's getting some good talent up there, and it's going to be hard to really get an at-large outside of the West Coast. I think.
I think because there are more players, though. Well, we'll see, right? I mean, now that it's an NCAA sport, I've noticed because I've been in the club scene since I moved here, and I helped Duran run the BVNEs, the Get Notice tournaments, beach volleyball national events, and I also super sub for Chris Hanneman when they were doing the JVAs and all that stuff. So, all of the club sizes have tripled.
Yeah.
So they're all not going to go to USC. They're all not going to go to whatever. In fact, all of USC and all of their talented players aren't even homegrown. Like their best. Who was the best player on USC last year? Say it with me. Tina Gradina. And where's she from?
Latvia.
Riga. Latvia. Qualified. Dane's going to lose it for another year. She qualified for her team in Tokyo. She won a bid. Latvia is going to the Olympics for the women. Who was the best team? Arguably the best team for UCLA last year. I say Sponsel and Justina, but the pair won were the McNamara's. And where are they from? Say it with me. Canada.
They're from Antarctica? No.
They are from Antarctica.
Our favorite Canadians are our favorite Canadian pair. Twins, not pair, twins.
To the best of my knowledge, only a guy named Phil Burrow has played beach volleyball down there. Phil Burrows is this guy who's like qualifier, top of the qualifier, almost main draw type dude. Very good. He's the only guy that played on all 7 continents. His name is Phil Burrow. Yeah, he was also on my podcast. Yeah, huh?
You're right though. I mean, that's one of the things we discussed last night. The panel is we were naming off the talent, and they were all from different countries.
Yeah.
they're benefiting from the collegiate coaching and training and going home and excelling for their countries.
Yeah, and me, I highlighted that before, and I'm highlighting that now because I got sick of all the cry failing about how everybody was using international players to beat USC and international players. And I'm like, dude, you hypocrite. Your best player. Your best player, right? UCLA, you hypocrite. You're pair of ones. Stop it. Just, I don't want to hear it, you know? John Mayer's pair one last year, Bo,
Yep.
Chulo, right?
Yep.
Yeah, we ain't gonna say Kulo, right? Chulo. I mean, it sounds even worse. What's the worst? Chulo or Kulo? It was their pair
Churro?
one.
You say churro? I'm kind of hungry.
Oh my God, I love that girl so much. Her competitive nature. She is the type of girl, like, if you sent her hunting and she had no hunting experience, she would come back with a dead moose and just be like, like that, Jason. You know?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, she is definitely a beast. I got to see her at the Wave Collegiate Challenge in November, right before the P1440 FIVB Challenge.
Yep.
She's at the Wave facility, and Loyola Marymount, they've got some great pieces in place.
John Mayer's sharp, dude. John Mayer sharp. I mean, only Jacinta Hernandez is the one that I know that's homegrown. It's going to LMU, but he's got some Swiss talent. John is just taking the best players, and John is taking the players that are online with his growth mindset. You know,
Yeah.
He's very much. We're very much like each other. Everywhere the man's coached, they get significantly better, like in a 2-year time span. Like when he brought me on, they were 6-13, and the next year we were 22-11. And then the year after that, they were WCC champs. So, which I called the Pepperdine Invitational. I just didn't think anyone was going to beat Pepperdine. But that's what got me into coaching. It's like, I mean, my first gig, I was an assistant coach because I was dating the head coach. Her name was Patricia DiMaggio. And she was assigned to build a program from the ground up that didn't even have a club, New York City Technical College in Brooklyn. So the first day, our first game, we only had 6 people. We registered someone for classes 15 minutes before the first match. Didn't even have a chance to warm up. But the dude, it was he played for Bameso. His name is Eugene Escoboza. He's from Mocha, Dominican Republic. So he didn't need much. I mean, when we're recruiting a guy as a 6th guy, we knew what we were doing. So, but I was brought on as an assistant. So I jumped the line. I wasn't a team manager or this or that. And then there's no way I would have gotten through that season. They're only powerful personalities like I'll say Anna Collier. If you want to know who Chi DiMaggio is about, just think of Anna Collier. Someone that walks into the room and men know how to behave. They get up, they snap, they snap too. So because of that, her presence allowed me to make mistakes as an assistant and just cut my teeth. I had a prior professional experience. I did 1 year at Hunter College. I was at Hunter for a cup of coffee because I wanted to play NCAA ball for 1 year. I got in. What was your major? Gym. Eventually later, I got into Marymount Manhattan and their BFA program for acting. At the time was number 2 in the nation. So I auditioned, I got in, and I'm like, okay, this is the route I want to go. So yeah, love you. I didn't know that you went to Irvine though. Repeat champs. Repeat champs.
I'm trapped in the Orange Curtain, so I know all the Orange Curtain people. So,
definitely.
But
Love me
they're
some Chris
definitely
Austin.
big volleyball families in the area. I mean, you'll recognize Yoders is a big one around here.
Yep.
Obviously, the Hughes between Connor, Sarah, and Lauren, the other sisters that played D1. Then there's so many. The Spittles are actually they're LA, but all the brothers came to UC Irvine. They all played at Redondo Union. There's definitely a hotbed of talent.
It's where I practice my club team every day. Yeah. I became very familiar with them, the Redondo Union.
It's hard not to fall in love with the game, especially starting indoor, and then beach was how we kept in shape back in my day. We didn't commit to one sport.
You cross-trained, right? It was a cross-trainer for indoor.
Yeah. I'd surf in the morning, jump on the court at 42nd Street in Newport and be playing.
What position?
In Newport?
No, what position did you play in indoor?
I was a setter.
Setter. Me too.
Yep. Yeah. Well, I ended my formal playing careers winning the company league championship. So, and I put away match point as an outside hitter.
They gave you MVP though, right?
Yeah. I go, I'm a setter. I don't hit. Like, we need you to hit.
Sometimes, listen, sometimes if they know it's coming to you, there's not a better feeling in the world. Like some people, they right? Some people say they want to be in that position, but they don't really want that sauce. You want that sauce. Yeah. I started as an outside hitter. And then when I went to Germany, I played for a company team and then a military community team in Frankfurt and Darmstadt. Tried out for the All-Army team, made that team, and then eventually got scouted by a club team in Germany to play in their D1 conference. And
Oh, wow.
so 1992 and 93, the Army released me 6 months out of the year as a public relations mission to play volleyball.
You're doing deep intel.
Yeah. Well, I saw someone do it for rodeo. So I was like, shit, let me try it for volleyball. And they're like, dude, you need to stop. I was a generator mechanic and there were a shortage of generator mechanics. So I didn't like my chances. In fact, 1992, in the middle of my season, they yanked me off the team because they needed someone to do a mission in Italy, in Sardinia. So I missed 4 matches because we had to do this hush-hush operation, and no one in that company had a generator mechanic. They had 3 of them. One was getting kicked out for drugs. One had a profile, we call it injury profile because of his knees, and the other one was a non-commissioned officer that they needed to stay there. So they yanked me from a different company right off of that. So, but then, bottom line, I went to the Olympics, Barcelona, to watch USA play Japan, and I ran into a guy named Mario Tribic, old Russian guy who was the coach of the Netherlands. And he's like, how tall are you? I'm like 6'1". He's like, what's your wingspan? I said, 6'8". My wingspan is 80 inches. So, and he's like, you're left-handed. He says, you should set. Go set. So for 2 years, I watched videos of Jeff Stork and just try to copycat his game. Use him as a launching pad of how I wanted to play my game. He is a little bit taller than me, 6'4", 6'5", but I had long arms that I knew that would make up for that. So I emulated my entire game around him, and man, I had a lot of success. And Rob, I never get starstruck, but when I saw him, look, New Yorkers don't get starstruck. You see Madonna walking her dog. You see Jay-Z, hey, what's up? You don't ask for autographs. You don't ask for pictures. Just maybe you say hello and then break. But when I saw Jeff Stork, I said, oh my God, Jeff Stork. And he just goes, oh God, like this has happened to him before. And I said, can I get a picture, please? John, you play for Pepperdine. I want to get a picture. It was him, Marv Dumpy. All of them were there at the same time. I said, I want a Pepperdine picture, but really it was just a picture to just to get my indoor volleyball idol.
Your Stork Phil.
Yeah, my Stork Phil. God bless that dude.
You know what though?
Huh?
So one of his boys came to UC Irvine, the 2013 team. He was a starting center until he got a concussion, but so I'd see him at the matches. I'm like, I used to idolize Jeff Stork as well. So I'm in your boat too.
Yeah, we're setters, right? Sometimes you just look at other good setters. Stetson back in the day. Stetson's a freaking dentist now. Mauricio Lima from Brazil, badass. He hits with both hands. People thought he was left-handed, but I think he's right-handed, but he can hit with his left. Man, you got, I don't know, I wouldn't call Matt Anderson. Matt Anderson's left-handed, but he does everything left-handed except play volleyball. So that's an interesting fact about Matt Anderson. But I wanted to emulate the best setters. And at that time, it was Jeff Stork. He already won an NCAA with Pepperdine. He already won the gold with Bob Stavertlik, his teammate at Pepperdine. I think they ran a 6'2" or something. And talk about kids. How about Matthew? How about Bob's kid? Played for Harvard.
Yeah,
they made the NCAAs.
He's a solid guy.
Remember a couple of years ago, they made the NCAAs. They actually took the first set from UCLA before UCLA cracked the code. Yeah, we all come full circle, huh?
That's right, we do, huh?
Harvard beat Princeton. Sam Schweitzer, the head coach, went to Hunter High School where I was the head coach. So it's a real small world, man, and it's even smaller on the East Coast. So that's why.
Yeah.
Oh my God, did I hold you up long enough?
I've enjoyed the conversation. I just now have to get my kids to a drive-by birthday party now.
Hit the lights, Dad. Hit the lights. This is for the pizza. Oh my God! At least make a good pizza. Where's your good pizza? Where's your good pizza joint here? I'm dying.
Well,
over
my
here.
wife I married a New Yorker, right?
Yes, I'm dying over here. Help me.
Oh, but in Orange County, there's only one place you'll trust. It's called the Pizza Bakery over off of Irvine Avenue and 17th.
Yes.
She
Pizza
said that's the
Bakery.
most legit East Coast, and she worked at a pizza joint growing up, so
Yes. You know where my
she
place
won't
is?
eat pizza anywhere else.
You're
Where?
going to love this. Valentino's. It's on the corner. It's on Manhattan Beach Boulevard in Aviation.
Hmm?
The guy who owns Valentino used to make my pizza on Parkside Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. His
You flew him out here?
Valentino,
Your
the
dad
actual
just
guy.
took work?
Well, he did like a 2 pizza chain, and he dumped one in El Segundo, but the sauce is not hard water. It's different. So it's the pizza is about how you make the sauce, and if you don't have the right water, you're not making the right sauce. So your place in Orange County probably uses some source of maybe they have a filtration system or a purifying
Yeah.
system that helps them. But this guy, when I was 9 years old, was my pizza guy. And the reason why I know is because when you're old, and you know this, when you're a student in high school and you see your science teacher has old white hair, you get older, you go back, what does he look like? You look older, and that dude still looks like the same old guy with white hair. Gandalf is never going to get older, right? Gandalf's still going to, Gandalf 20, all right, I'll use another, Bernie Sanders. In the 80s, the man is white-haired, balding on the
He's
top.
80 in the 60s, right?
Yes. Yes, when he got busted on that protest, that was a young. But those are the guys at 20 years. I'm like, geez, I got older, and that guy still looks the same.
Yeah.
So, tell me the pizza joint again before we go. Plug it.
The Pizza Bakery
The Pizza
in
Bakery.
Newport Beach, 17th and Irvine Avenue.
Cool. All right. So before you go, and at some point I gotta let you go. This is the cool thing about a podcast because it's not an interview. We could just talk all day. Where can people reach you? Find out more about Rob Espero.
RobOnTheMic.com, or all my social media is at RobOnTheMic. Easy to find. And the Viral Volley podcast, which I try to plug other podcasts because the way I came about doing that was a sheer accident. Kevin Barnett and DJ Roche decided to retire the Net Live after the women's collegiate season for indoor. And I was like, well, who's going to do men's indoor then? And I just kind of thought someone else was going to take the mantle. I got a call right after Thanksgiving from Volleyball Mag. Lee Feinswag said, would you be willing to take it on? I'm like, wait a second, I've never done this before. So I said, okay, because I don't want the coverage to lapse.
No.
So I did that. And then just by nature of working collegiate beach, I was like, well, I'll incorporate the two. And then COVID happened. And because I just want to see the athletes who would normally be playing for a national championship this week on men's indoor, I still want them to be on the forefront. So I'm going to go until probably 2 weeks, maybe one.
Good.
We'll see.
Yeah.
And we'll see where we go from there.
It provides.
I've just been trying to use the platform to market athletes like Sarah Hughes and Sarah Sponsel and whoever else will come on. So, but they've been great. They've been willing to just come on board, and I can ask them questions and have the conversations like we're having now.
Yeah. It provides a sense of normalcy too.
Yeah.
Like when my guest couldn't come and the girl who texted the show couldn't come, I was like, we have to maintain a sense of normalcy. And for me, who volleyball is not my only outlet. I'm doing, I deal with theater performance. I deal with all this other stuff. I'm so happy that you came on the show, man. And we got to get that petition going to get you on that AVP thing. I would love to do it, and I came to them 2 years ago. And Jeff Conover, he was cool. Like I went to New York, right? And when I went to New York, Jeff says, hey, welcome home. I understand this is where you're from. And then he says, I heard you're doing color commentary for P1440. And then everybody else just got quiet around us like, and I said, yeah, I am. This is the work I want to do. I moved here to do coaching and color commentary. Those are my super objectives in moving here. And if I can't do it, I'm going to do something else. If I'm going to keep getting snubbed, I'm not going to do, and he's like, well, he says, hey, you came to us and we said no, so I can't be mad at you. You got to work. And I was like, no. I said, I came to you and you said yes. And you gave me to Josh, and Josh, was trying to get me in, but there was so many moving parts happening in Manhattan Beach, it never happened. So I just told Jeff, I said, you ain't got to fall on everybody's sword, dude.
Yeah.
Because he's the one that fell on everyone's sword, saying we said no, he didn't. He said, they said yes. It just didn't happen. So I thought for me it was kind of a missed opportunity. And maybe because I don't really have a tighter leash, maybe I might not be the best guy for the job anyway. I'm not saying you do. I'm just saying your personality personality doesn't require the leash. you know? So would I love to do it? Absolutely. Would I love you to do it? Hell yeah, even more so in more ways than one. In a dream world, in a fantasy world, we both get to sit next to each other and do this, and just have the fans take this journey through our eyes, man. And I'm like, dude, if you really want to take off, what's the bottom line as far as can you do the job or not, ladies and gentlemen? I give you Rob Espero, and I give you Jason DeBeas.
I agree. I'd love to see. Actually, I'd love to see more than one court though being covered. That's why I'm like, it'd be a great opportunity for you and I to step in and do it. I'd love to do it together, but I mean, my heart is, hey, let's get as many of these courts out there so people can see that.
And let's get Travis Meward. Let's get like a mic on his ear while he's playing. Ball, touch block. No way, I recovered the touch block. No assist needed.
It'd be kind of cool is to actually have dialogue. You're doing one court, I'm doing the other one. Hey, Jason, did you see the play in my court?
Yes, I did. Did he just kick that ball into the third row? Who was that?
Well, maybe we'll see that in the near future. I mean, especially with the changes coming from COVID, we might see a lot more online viewers at these outdoor events.
Well, hopefully Hermosa's still on. I'm not coaching anyone for that tournament. I was coaching 3 players, and Rafa I was doing a little bit of work for. But it is my 50th birthday.
Oh, I'll remember.
Which actually falls on that Sunday, and I already have box seats. So one way or another, as a coach or as just a spectator, I'll be there on Sunday. And the qualifier, I like the qualifier because I just love watching relative unknowns go after it, and I love videotaping them and getting their names out there. Yep.
I love the passion for the game, Jay. Oh, love it.
God, it's right here.
I think that's why you and I are connected, man. Big time.
Just right away, man. Dude, it's like a brother from another mother, man. Yep. So listen, let's wrap up. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this episode. This is episode 32, brought to you by Beach Volleyball National Events and by Endless Summer Beach Volleyball. Come play with us. It is also brought to you by NY Varsity Sports, watching me, watching you. For all of you at home, for Rob Espero, who's joining me by the magic of Skype, I am Jason DeBeas, and we say, love you. We're out. See ya! Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify, and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.